G'day everyone, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Thursday, the 19th of July 2018, and the time here is 09:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Well folks, once again, it's hard to believe that there's this much turmoil in the world, isn't it, really? So, what do? Well, we just keep our eyes and ears to the ground, sort of, so to speak, eyes on the horizon, ears to the ground, and just continue to do what we're doing. I'm not going to show you Deutsche Bank shares today. I'm going to show you something else. This is mainly for Australian audiences, to be honest, because this video, because there's something that I want to show you, and I've got a couple of comments that I'm going to talk about as well. So we'll do the comments first, and because as I said, the comments that I'm getting are very good, and I'm starting to understand I'm getting to reach a lot more people than my YouTube numbers tell me, because just from the sheer volume of comments, which don't seem like a lot, but you know, it seems that I'm getting to see more and more people. So as they say, click like and subscribe and share, please, if you can, because we're running out of time, as you all know, and we need to contact as many people as possible. That includes your relatives, your family. Okay, here's the first comment from yesterday's video, the Banks 2018. And what I will say is that sometimes it's easy to forget the reason for the collapse and just what role we all played, and I mean all of us, 90% of us, 99% of us, played in getting to where we are now. So let me read this to you. I'm guessing this person is from America. A good insight from Australia. What has Trump got to do with Australian banks, as there is nothing he can do about the world's economy? I agree. It is beyond him. Hasn't Australia got bigger problems than American politics, as Trump is a very good actor on the world stage? In many countries, the farmers are facing similar problems. US farmers have trade and tariff problems. People have borrowed cheap money, including the farmers, as in Canada and Australia. Farmers buying second, third exit farms. Farms, tractors, brand new family vehicles, just like the city folks. The cost of money for retail banks are going up, and it is the fault of the central banks for keeping interest rates too low or zero. And this has allowed people to have a massive debt in Western countries. True. There is Australians living overseas that listen to Martin North of Walk of the World, and he is very informative. Why were the banks not bastards when people were borrowing cheap money and getting into debt, while the savers were being punished? Any thoughts on that? I once heard your previous Prime Minister, Tony Abbott, that said, live within your means. Perhaps the people in the Western world and the government should have paid attention to his wise words. Probably agree with that. We, as adults, should be responsible for our finances. And since when did anyone trust the banking institutions? Let's be fair here. Your reports are much appreciated. Well, if you really want to be honest, he's probably pretty right. You know, it was funny when I was reading that. I remembered that when I was younger, and this would be the same for a lot of people my age. I'm 54. That when I went to the bank to see about getting a car for my first loan for a car. And I had the front up, so I was 18, 19 or whatever it was. I had the front up to the bank manager. This is how it was done back then. And I sat down with the bank manager, and he said, show me your bank records. And back then you had a little book, and everything, single transaction was stamped in a book. So I did that, and then he said, show me your pay slips. So I showed him my pay slips, and he looked at me straight in the face and he said, under no circumstances am I giving you any money. Get out of my bank, sort of thing. And I was like, okay. Now, that's how it was done. And I think if I remember, he said to me, for me to give you any money, you're going to have to come back here with at least 50% deposit on the loan. So I had to get, I think I wanted, and look folks, I think you're talking about, if I remember, it was a $2,000 car. But remember, in 1980, I got paid $32 a week. And that's 1980. So think about how far up wages have gone since then. It's just ballooned. So all I wanted was $2,000, I think, to buy this XY 5.8 litre V8 ute. And he said no. He said come back with 50% deposit, which was $1,000, which was a lot of money back then. I had to work overtime, etc., to get it all done. In the end, I didn't get it, but because we had to live and everything else, and I was living in Canberra at the time, so I didn't have any money to do that, but I thought it was just easy. But that's how different times have changed. I've now got a card that'll give me $50,000 credit with not even so much as an inkling that I've got the money to pay it back. So that's how much this is all flipped over. So all those things I was telling you just then were exactly the same. You wanted a house loan, you had to literally sacrifice at the altar of Lucifer to get a loan. You know what I mean? It was that hard. So, and like the person said in that comment there, flip that over 180 and you've gone completely the opposite way, where we all think we can have whatever we want at any time and there will be no consequences. Everything's free. It's cash free. Everything, you can have whatever you want. That's what you're told. Just take this card. You can have whatever you want. I'll give you a scenario. My daughter applied for her first, like a ATM machine card. She's over the moon. And she's 14. I didn't have a card. I did not have a bank card, and I mean just a hole in the wall machine, an ATM machine. I did not have one until I was 33 and after I was married. Everything I did before then was cash. And if I wanted something, I didn't have it, I either saved up for it and bought it, or I just didn't have it. It was as simple as that. I owned 3 sets of clothes. Work clothes, hanging around the house clothes, and 1 set of going out clothes. Do that 180 to today, and my wife buys me clothes that I never ever wear. And I've told her to stop, actually. It's just ridiculous. You got to remember you can only wear 1 shirt at any one time. And I'm just traditionalist, I guess. I'm no fashion hound, folks, let me tell you. But when I go out, I look okay because I've got the same set of clothes on and I look great. All my other clothes I treat with total disregard and disrespect, because to me it's not worth the worry of, oh wow, I look great. That's not what this is about. Anyway, I've got another comment. Let me read the next comment to you. Now, this one's from Pete. Pete, it comes from Victoria. I know Pete, so we've talked for many a year. Okay, the offset account is a good idea for forward thinking and planning for leaner times. However, that's no help for thousands of country farmers that are desperate. They need urgent assistance. And this is true, folks. It's actually a dust bowl out there. Assistance aid. ASP Mr. Turnbull, how about diverting a considerable amount of the Australian taxpayers' money that you give away in foreign aid each year and give it to our farmers at no cost to them? Well, I'd back that 100%. And I think 99% of our population would as well. We just give away billions each year to these dickheads overseas that don't give a shit about us and don't care about us. About the only thing they want to do is actually come and bomb us or invade us. Prep, you're sounding a little flat today. Hope you're okay. Stay strong and make sure you're looking after number one. Also, we are all interested in what you have to say, even after 15 minutes. Lots of love. Cheers and God bless. Thanks, Pete. Okay, time to tell the truth. If I'm sounding a bit flat, folks, it's because I fell through the floorboards last week, and I've literally split my stomach muscles in two. So I've been doing these videos like with gritted teeth. It's bloody killing me, to be honest. And with my illness, any nerve damage just exasperates that problem. So it's not easy at the moment, but there's no point whinging about it. Just got to get on. Look, sorry, my cat's trying to get on my computer. Go away. Sorry. I agree with Peter. Simple as that. There's no reason why my tax dollars can't go to help the people who are going to feed us. But take into account the fact that what the first person said in the first bit, you know, the farmers are as guilty as any of us as to gorging themselves on cheap money. And that's why a lot of them are going bust at the moment. In Western Australia, for example, it's actually an epidemic. The banks are shitting themselves in Western Australia because the weather has changed so much in Western Australia that traditional farmers, or farming, has now completely flipped on its head. You've got literally thousands of farms there that are going bust or are bust, and the banks don't know what to do about it. And this is the same in Queensland. There's no difference. The drought's been so bad that it's actually wiping them out But what do the banks do? It's funny. At the Banking Royal Commission, one of the farmers was from Manjimup down south I think it was in WA, and the banks literally gave him enough money to buy 2 extra farms with no collateral. And you just think, well, that's an example of the first comment. You can't just have things you think you can have. You've got to prove that you can have them. That's the problem. There's no proving anymore of anything. People just say to people, "Oh, you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're a xenophobe, you're this or that," and because I might express my views on something. Well, my views are my views. I'm a man, and sadly, over the past couple of generations, 30 years, men have been told to shut the fuck up, excuse my French, and not to say anything, because every time we open our mouths, we're a rapist, we're a xenophobe, we're racist, we're this, we're that, and a man walking down the street on his own is out looking for rape women, and it's just crap. And I'm sick of that. That's why I started doing this, so I could speak out a bit and try and wake people up a bit. I guess where I'm going with this is that we're all guilty of the same problems, but we need to help these farmers, and the only way we can help them is government assistance, or otherwise our country is just going to get upsold to the Chinese 100%. They're buying everything now. So I'd like to know where all the food's coming from, the grain, etc., to feed this country in the future, because so many of the farmers are going broke. Anyway, that's my rant. Next one. Okay, here in Australia, we have this new thing called everybody's got to go in their My Health records. Now get this. If you've got kids, you'll know about this already. An adult, by classification in Australia, is anybody over the age of, technically 18. That's when you can drink. That's when you can do a lot of things. But non-technically, that's when you can vote, at 18, etc. So you're classed as an adult after 18 in society. In the realms of some people, it's 16. So there's a big jump between 16 and 18 in regards to boys especially. Women not so much, but boys, there's a big jump there. They're not ready to even exist at that level at 16. So if you're like us, you received a letter last week or a couple of weeks ago telling you that your 13-year-old child and your 14-year-old now have to sign up to My Health on their own because we, the parents, are no longer able to access their accounts. We're not allowed to have anything to do with their accounts. This is fair income, folks. This is 100% true. So my wife rang them up and said, you do realise that these children are not adults? And they went, we don't care. You're not allowed to ring us anymore about this. We're only going to speak to your son about his medical records. Now, my son can't go to a doctor's on his own because he's not over 6, he's not 18. Can you believe how bizarre this is? This is what they're now doing. Your child has to now sign up on their own using their own passwords, etc., to sign into My Health records, their medical records. It's just mind-boggling, folks, where these dickheads get this shit from. I just can't understand it myself. So, yesterday, you can't make this stuff up, folks, seriously. Oh, God. You know, you just can't make this stuff up. There's people sitting there that actually do this for a living, by the way. You know, it's just... Right, anyway, I'm going to show you this. You're going to laugh your heads off. My Health record. Former digital transformation head raises concern about security of offline system. No. Really? Like, he had to tell us that? China just hacked into every single thing we've got in this country without even much effort. And now they want my children to go on this thing and have their own online medical records. It's just, you know, I just can't believe this shit. Look, I'll show you page 2. Hang on. Okay, the man appointed by Malcolm Turnbull to transform the Commonwealth Digital Public Services has said if he was Australian, he would probably opt out of the government's controversial online health database. From this week, Australians have 3 months to opt out of My Health record, which gives people an online summary of their health information. Okay. Look, if you are actually watching my show, or any of these shows like this, and you've actually haven't opted out of this system, honestly, why are you watching my show? Because your health records are open to everybody. Once you go online, it's gone. So, and that's not to say that they can't now anyway, so feel free. I'm opting out. My whole family's opting out. But see, the thing is, these people are so determined to manage every single thing on your thing that they're going to turn around and say, well, because you've all opted out, you can't have this and you can't have that. And then when do we draw the line and say, look, enough of this shit? We voted for you guys because you're in Parliament for us. You're not in Parliament against us. They are anyway. But, you know, when do we get to that line and we just say, enough? Well, I crossed that line a long time ago, and I'm hoping a lot of you have as well. This here is the 100% way to manage you 100%. Because there's, by law in Australia, they're not allowed to have, we aren't allowed to have citizenship cards and all this other shit. So there's no other way they can actually manage us all except by doing this. So eventually what will happen is thousands and thousands of people are going to opt out, and the government's going to say, well, I'm sorry, unless you actually opt in, we're not going to supply any of this stuff to you. We're going to cut your benefits. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. That's how serious this is. So I hope people realise, I know I'm laughing about it. I'm laughing about it because of the stupidity of these dickheads that actually thought of this up in the first place. But that's how serious this is. This is where this is going. This is going to be our first test, and this is going to be a world test, because they're going to test it here, which they already are starting to do, and then they're going to export it to America, England, the whole world. Now, you have to opt out, unfortunately. This is an RFDS chip without the chip. I hope you realise that. This is another way for them to mark you somehow and manage you. So please send this around to everyone and opt out of this stupidity. And start telling these guys, stop running my life. I don't want you to. I want to run my life, not you. Okay, folks, verse of the day. And this is ironic. I will praise you with an upright heart as I learn your righteous laws. I will praise you with an upright heart as I learn your righteous laws, which are not the laws of this government. Hope that makes sense. And we'll finish up, as always, with the Lord's Prayer, folks. And remember, this is about you, not about them. The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Well, okay, folks, I'm going to leave it at that. They're getting serious with this stuff. That's what I can say. They're getting more and more serious all the time. You know, time's running out quickly. So like, share and subscribe as much as you can, please. God bless. Prep out.